Hey, welcome back to DecoyNoise, where we're doing some more Decoy Court, where we're taking some stories from Am I the Antagonist, and sometimes they get so heated that they demand a retrial. So today's first featured post is, would I be the antagonist for exposing my mom's Facebook fantasies? So as always, as we do in DecoyNoise, I want to make sure you guys are subscribing down below to join the Decoy Koi Pond, because we're having a good time hanging out, just doing these lighthearted discussions about whatever we find on the internet. And make sure when you subscribe, you're letting me know in the comment section that you've joined the Decoy Koi Pond down below, so we can all give you a nice warm welcome, because unlike the rest of the internet, we can be nice to strangers. But let's go ahead and get to that first post right now. So OP wrote, "Throwaway because I'm stupidly introduced to my parents to Reddit at the start of the lockdown. I, a 28-year-old female, moved in with my conservative parents for a few months earlier in the year because they are needed with help with life during the COVID lockdown. During that time, like many people, I launched myself into baking. It's always been a special hobby, as I'm pretty shy, and baking things for people I care about is one of the few ways I can express myself. Over the years, when I've made something challenging, my mum, 65-year-old female, has insisted I send her photos. I always thought it was cool that she was interested and would send her lots of pictures. Needless to say, when I was living with her, she was hovering around like some sort of pastry paparazzi. Tonight, while visiting, Mum asked me to help her with her Facebook privacy settings. While doing so, I discovered that she's been posting pictures of my bakes with me cropped out and claiming them as her own creations. I haven't added her on Facebook, so I had no idea she's been doing this literally for years. The captions were always something like, 'Freshly baked apple pie. Thank goodness OP can rely on me to bake for her.' Underneath the posts are friends and family usually commenting on how great the bakes are, and then I was spoiled for being a grown adult who still didn't know how to cook. Oh no. After going through all the posts, I noticed there was a theme. She depicts me as a pathetic, lonely loser, incapable of looking after myself. Most of her family lives overseas, so they had no idea that she's lying, while her friends don't know me well enough to question it. So Reddit, would I be the antagonist if I logged into my mom's Facebook and changed all the captions to be more honest? I hate confrontation, but I don't know what to do. Too long didn't read. My mom posts pictures of food I've made with captions that credit her as making them, and me as a sad loser that can't cook. Would I be the antagonist if I changed the captions to include the truth?" So we're taking the case and rushing it over to Decoy Court, because obviously Reddit already made their decision, but to me, the Decoy and Decoy Court, where I am the only person that matters, is, yeah, this is a sad situation that the mom, 65 years old, has resorted to living some fantasy life on Facebook and kind of blasting you to strangers that you don't know and just kind of making you look like a loser. Yeah, it's really messed up, but honestly, to see it from her point of view, like, I'm trying to do the decoy defense on defending the indefensible, because obviously the mom is the antagonist, but there's a simple fact that if her life consists of scrounging together some photos of your pastries just to get some internet praise and to make herself feel better about it, I'm willing to bet that her life is pretty sad overall. Not to be too judgmental, but anybody that has a very fulfilling life that just has lots of other things going on, they're not so desperate and sad to try to get Facebook praise on something that's not their accomplishment. That would seem like a very, very empty way to live. So, yes, OP, you're entitled to, blast your mom and make her look like a fool on social media, but just, I would think that, hey, look, I think you're living with your parents right now because of you're helping them, but you're gonna ruin her only level of having fun and having a good time with, you blasting her. Maybe posting, maybe just straight up telling her, you say you don't like confrontation, but you're 28 years old. It's finally time for you to figure out how to, express yourself and really put your foot down and become the adult that you need to be. Why don't you just have that conversation with your mother and say that, look, stop using my stuff. I notice that you're doing it. This is a sad way to live your life. Don't portray me in some negative way, because not only does that paint me in a negative light, that paints your parenting in a negative light as well, so it's all bad. I'm still gonna go ahead and say that OP, you're not the antagonist, even if you decide to go out there and say, hey, look, mom, you're being a sad sack loser online, stop doing that. It's still not a bad thing, but maybe this is a good learning point for like empathy on both sides, saying, hey, mom, stop making me look like an idiot. Mom, I'm not going to make you look like an idiot because your life is already kind of cheating on sadness right now. So let's just go ahead and say, everybody's not going to be the antagonist. Well, OP's not the antagonist. Mom is the antagonist, but there's a better way to go about this. But let's go ahead and see what the prosecution on the top comments are saying right now. So the top comment is, what she did is very wrong, but you would be the antagonist if you log into her account and change things. You have to confront her. You can ask her to take them down and apologize publicly, or you'll cut her off. And then, you know what, that's a thing, is I wouldn't say that you would want to cut off anybody because of pastry drama online. But the one thing I would say is I don't read any of the top comments before I do this. This is genuinely my opinion on it, and I do feel, you know, validated that the top comment has something similar to what I was thinking. But the next top post was, not the antagonist, I'm not a fan of public humiliation, but what your mother is doing in the public, so she had it coming. I would also include progress posts for further proof or something like that, but I'm just a paranoid person. And I get that, you know, that would be a thing. OP came back and said, genius, I always take progress shots because I have the memory of a fish, so I can definitely go back through my photo reel and prove I made them. And here's the thing is, why would you take time out of your day to impress you people you don't care, put your mother down in an already pretty sad situation? Maybe just because I have a really good relationship with my mother that I would never want to put them through that sort of thing. So maybe this is just because I have a bias on this, but I don't imagine that would be, it's not a productive way for the mother to be spending her time. It's really not a productive way for the daughter to be spending their time trying to figure out a way to, like, you know, slam dunk on their mom in front of a whole bunch of strangers that they'll never meet and don't really care about their opinion anyway. Let's go ahead and get to the top controversial post, because this can be the defense attorneys for OP, but probably not. So the top controversial post was, yes, obviously you would be the antagonist. The best thing to do is nothing. Your poor mother is leading a life so pathetic that she needs to shore up her ego by pretending that she is a star baker and then you are a loser on social media. That is a terribly sad, but she doesn't harm you in any real way. Leave it alone. And I'm not to the point of the whole leave it alone, because even if I didn't care about the people, I would hate for, you know, me to be portrayed on any social media or any place in general that I'm this sad sack loser that has to have my mother cook all my meals for me. But I do identify that the mom there's something terribly going wrong in her life. Like, nobody has had a point in their life where they are playing for the Lakers in the NBA finals, but they still have some time. Like, you know what? I need to make sure that my family members and friends think I'm the star chef. Like, if you actually have accomplishments and things you're proud of in real life, you're focusing on real life, not necessarily what's going on in your alternate universe life. So the next controversial post was, just move out already. And they said, OP came back and said, I moved out after restrictions were lifted. I was only with them for a few months to help with shopping and errands because they're both in the high risk category. So that is one thing. I don't want to say that, oh, you know, the mom is biting the hand that feeds them, even though that is in the literal sense what was happening. But yeah, they're kind of, I would say it's a harmless thing. It's just kind of a drama thing that they got going on. But yeah, it is kind of messed up that she's portraying the daughter in the light that she probably feels that it's her reality. So that does make sense why she's doing it. I'm sure some psychologists, and I bet with the 2.5k subscribers we have at least one psychologist or psychiatrist subscribed down below. So one of you guys can help clear that up and let us know why you would have a situation where it's like, you know, maybe that's what it is. Like, I'm not as tall as I would like to be, and then in NBA or NBA 2K, when I'm making my character, I'm like, hell, heck yeah, Decoy is 6'8". That's my character right there. So that does make sense that you often will have a fantasy representation of you online is what you were, like, self-conscious or wishing you were in real life. So maybe there's a part of that. I don't really know. Maybe I'm just trying to overreach right now. But let's go ahead and get to the next post, which is, am I the antagonist for being too nice to my boyfriend's friend and not apologizing to him for it? So this one sounds like it's gonna be messy. So OP wrote, there's some backstory to this, so bear with me. Is there a bear attacking her? That's an allusion to the other post, so whatever. Okay, so OP said, okay, so late last year, I got dental implants. I lost 3 teeth in a car accident when I was 17. I'm 24 now, and I've had partial dentures as replacement teeth. The implants were really expensive and not covered by my insurance, so I waited a long time to get them, but I'm so much happier now. I was really shy after my accident. Not to get really into the gory details, my chin had to be basically stitched back together and I looked messed up, you know? The scar is super faded now, but the missing teeth really bugged me. After I got my implants, I kinda went wild changing my look, lol. Cut my hair super short, got my first tattoo, started wearing makeup and stuff. It was such a confidence boost, I wanted to look as good as I felt, you know? But then the lockdown happened and suddenly I can't even interact with anyone anymore, lol. Anyways, with stuff finally opening up, my boyfriend started having his friends over again. He hosts LAN parties and Dungeons and Dragons a lot. I know his friends pretty well, and it was my first interaction with people in person outside of my tiny bubble, so I dressed up and fixed my hair and stuff. The guys were like, wow, OP, you look so different, and complimented the hair, and I showed them my tattoo. It's on my arm. I also made dinner for everyone and hung out a while with them, which isn't out of the ordinary. All was good, but then after his friends left, my boyfriend was like, so you were extra giggly, and I was like, what? He said I was being all smiley and borderline flirting with his friends. I was like, I haven't spoken to many people in like 6 months and I wanted to show off, you know? Plus, it's not like I was super made up. He said he just found it really weird and said I wasn't acting like myself and fishing for compliments from his male friends. Well, that wasn't cool. I just want to show off my teeth, which cost a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I told him being friendly wasn't flirting and he had no issues with my new look until that moment. Yesterday, he told me it's still bugging him and he asked me not to act like that again. Told him I wasn't going to lock myself away in my own home when his friends show up and accuse me of being dramatic. I told him I wasn't gonna apologize until he admitted this was just him being insecure with me, being outgoing rather than shy like I used to be. I've been talking to my sister about this and she said I should let it go because guys are stupid about emotions and being vulnerable and it would be easier just to apologize and forget about it. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but I think he's being the antagonist. Am I being too harsh? So rushing the case over to Decoy Court because I already know that Reddit has their opinion on this, and let's just have a simple disclaimer right here. I have been that guy before, and when you're in it, you don't know what it is because it's just a very huge insecurity you have where you feel like your relationship is so fragile that anybody can just swoop in there and take your girl away from you. And it really takes a lot of like self-esteem building as you grow up. Like this was me like in high school where I was just kind of unsure about myself, and most people kind of are, but the simple fact that I kind of understand where he's coming from, and it's the wrong way, because the more that he stamps his feet and says stop looking prettier and stop having, you know, a personality that people are like just magnetically attracted to, and stop making, you know, other guys just wowed by all your effort, that just makes you, the boyfriend, less attractive. The more he tries to, like, you know, try to suppress her from becoming the person that she wants to be, or the wonderful person she's going to be, the more she's going to leave you behind. So a simple fact that he's having this thing where he's trying to put it on her, like, why you flirting, why you giggly or whatever, it's like, no, he doesn't want a girlfriend. He just wants a nice, like, I don't know, I don't even know what to call it, but just like not a trophy wife, but he just wants something to show off and then go back in the corner. Okay, yeah, don't flirt, don't talk to nobody, don't do any of that. You were here just to impress people and go back into, like, you know, your place or something, which is, it's going to push her away. So, you know, it would be a thing in the relationship. You don't want to be too harsh. So OP Bobby needs to stand up for themselves, but in a way that's going to help the guy kind of figure out that you're doing all the wrong things. Like, not to be too harsh, but saying, hey, the more you try to suppress this, the more it's going to come out. So, I mean, you got to figure out a way to just be confident. Maybe even just like coddle his ego a little bit. Like, I'm with you. This is who I want to be with. Chill out. People are going to like me because OP's now has, like, you know, putting on makeup, finally has her teeth. She's feeling good about herself, and people are nice people. They're his friends. They're not going to come through and be like, oh, finally fix those chompers. You're GD pirate or something like that. Like, they're gonna do that. So yeah, OP, you're definitely not the antagonist. It's just, this is the boyfriend's problem. The boyfriend's messed up, but the boyfriend's going through something. It's not OP's job to coddle the boyfriend and to raise the boyfriend into being a man, but I do understand where he's coming from, and it's just a maturity issue on his end. The girlfriend almost can't even do anything about it. So let's go ahead and see what the top comments are saying, because that's going to be the prosecution. So the top comment was, when y'all started dating, you were a shy, insecure woman, and he never had to worry about you flirting with other dudes or being attractive to other dudes. In other words, he was never insecure because he didn't think you had many other options. Now that you got your teeth fixed, cut your hair, got your tat, and are generally much more confident in yourself, he's starting to develop some insecurities. The entire dynamic of the relationship has changed now that you are no longer massively insecure and have changed your look, and he doesn't know how to deal with that. Both of y'all need to sit down and have an adult discussion about this, one that doesn't devolve into shouting or name-calling, not the antagonist. And honestly, that looked like a specialist reply right there with someone that really knows what they're talking about and is able to help them kind of come to it. Like, I have my you know, rudimentary understanding of like what an insecure guy looks like and what he does, and, you know, how you could probably interact with them to make them feel better about the situation. But this answer right here is probably everything that needed to be said in the one post. But let's just go ahead and look at the next top post saying, this isn't a thing guys do, it's a thing insecure people do, not the antagonist. This probably belongs in relationship advice. So it's true, but relationship advice, r/relationship advice, you can check out my post earlier on. It's when I did the thumbnail change and experimented with different content. r/relationship is the most biased, condescending, outright wrong section of Reddit, in my opinion, where it's always like breakup or condescending to OP if there's some sort of age discrepancy. It's just a mess over there. So I don't recommend anybody go to relationship advice. I do recommend that top post where they said, hey, have a discussion, address the issues, be adults about it, because the dynamic has changed. And that's pretty much what really happened over there, just where he was comfortable that she was this shy kind of person that was just not really talking to anybody, and all of a sudden he has this very confident, gorgeous looking girlfriend where he just doesn't know how to handle that situation. Not saying that he's right or he's justified, but you know where it's coming from, and hopefully it's salvageable because, hey, look, they're living together, they're having a good time. Hopefully they can figure out a way to get through it. But let's go ahead and see the defense, which is the top controversial post, because the top controversial post that got downvoted was, I think if the shoe was on the other foot, you would feel uncomfortable. I cannot imagine a scenario which I would dress up for my boyfriend's friends, lockdown or not. It does sound like you were a lot like you were being flirty, which is, you know, it's hard to say what constitutes flirting because so many people did have different standards of flirting. Like, to me, what constitutes flirting is when you're going above and beyond what is your baseline normal. Like the way that I talk to my guy friends, the way that I talk to girls that I know, it's gonna be this certain level. Like, I'm not very like a touchy-feely person, but if I'm talking to someone I'm interested in and I'm touching them and we're laughing and we're talking about, like, you know, going to do other plans and stuff, that would be flirting. So that's my level of flirting. But then to other people, like straight up like, you know, massaging their shoulder, or would be like the above and beyond. Or for a very shy person, just even having a conversation or making eye contact when they're interacting, that would constitute flirting because it's so above and beyond what their baseline is. So I could see why there's a competing level of that, and I could see why this person would be wrong. So, you know, Decoy Court goes back and forth all the time, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that, you know, OP, you are not the antagonist, and even though the boyfriend is understandable where he's coming from, he is being the antagonist right now, but hopefully he can kind of grow into acknowledging what the situation is, how the power dynamic did change, and how he can figure out a way to keep everybody happy, keep himself happy. Is there a compromise in there? I don't really know, because you're never going to... What an insecure person does is they try to take whoever they're with and they try to shut out everybody else in their life. Like, okay, all the hot guys, or if they're dating a girl, if they're dating a guy, all the hot girls are trying to get them out of their face. And it's like, you're never going to beat that. You're never going to be able to say, I'm going to fight every dude that flirts with you because I'm insecure. It's like, no, you got to figure out a way to have a trust situation with your significant other, because it's impossible. They're always going to go to a coffee shop. They're always going to go to the DMV and just be sitting next to somebody, happen chance that that is their type, and you're trying to fight. You're trying to pull the wrong, or fight the wrong end of the coin, pull the wrong end of the rope. I don't know what the phrase is, but you get what I'm saying. It's the whole situation where you got to figure out a way how to be confident with the relationship, not the circumstances surrounding it, because you're never going to change that. But let's go ahead and get to the next top post, which is, am I the antagonist for telling my sister that she is not a mother? So this is probably going to be harsh. OP says, so me, a 32-year-old female, and my sister, a 37-year-old female, were very close as children, but as we became older, she distanced herself from our family. According to her, our parents forced her to become an adult early to raise her younger siblings, but i.e. us while they worked. I understand her grievances, and I'm grateful for all that she has sacrificed for us, but we didn't have any choice in that matter, and she was very hurt when she suddenly became very distant to me. 5 years ago, my sister had a baby boy who unfortunately died in a freak accident. When he was 1, his birth and subsequent death brought our family again together, and we've been mending our relationship from there. So the situation for which I am here is because I had a child too 3 years ago. Ever since the birth of my child, my sister is always giving me unnecessary advice and undermining the way that I am raising my daughter. Yesterday, when we were at our mother's house, I casually mentioned that my daughter still gets a body massage from her grandmother. My sister again started how that's wrong and how she as a mother would never leave her child in that condition in front of anyone. I just snapped and told her that her opinion is not valid and she is not a mother. Her baby died 5 years ago and she didn't have any children after him. Honestly, my child is not the same gender as hers and has lived to past the age of my late nephew, so I didn't think she's fit to give me any advice on how I should raise my daughter. She hastily left after that argument, and now my mother is angry as she says that I could have jeopardized all the effort they have made to be close to my sister. I don't think I was wrong to defend myself in the situation, but what do you think? Am I the antagonist? And edit. Thank you all for your comments, for your information. I knew I was wrong in saying what I said, but my question was more of whether I was justified in saying that or not. In my opinion, there are some kind of people, racists, abusers, and assaulters who deserve everything that is hurled upon them. I knew what I said was wrong, but have any of you read Arms and the Man, in a scene where Raina contemplates saying something so shocking that it would horrify Sergius and he would break off his engagement to her? I don't know this. It was something like that. I've been walking through eggshells around her while she kept saying horrible things about my in-laws, said they were greedy, uneducated people who didn't deserve to live in this country, and my parents placate her and everything. So yeah, I was angry and said the worst thing that would hurt her. I knew it was wrong, so I'm going to apologize to her, then cut all contact with her because I don't want her negativity near my child. This is going to be a very tough because she is very obsessive about everything and is very close to my daughter and to the point where she thinks she is the mother. So yeah, hope the no contact goes well and I would never have to see or talk to her again after this call. Edited to add that you people were so hypocritical. There was a post about 911 where OP brought the other party's dead father in response to her racism, and you applauded her and gave her not the antagonist, but this situation is so different. Wow. So, rushing a case over to Decoy Court where I don't have the expertise or the knowledge to judge on this, but it does sound like this is Am I the antagonist? Was I meaner when I could have been nicer? And here's a situation. OP already cut off his sister and they broke off all contact, so they probably hate each other in the first place. And the simple fact that the sister comes back in their life, the parents are really trying to mend the relationship and bring them together because they're family, and then sister kind of sucks because she's just, she's projecting her own life onto OP and probably nitpicking at her and saying atrocious things about OP's family or husband and in-laws. So it would make sense that OP's gonna lash out and say some really mean things, and even if she didn't need to say that stuff, she was just trying to figure out the best way to get her the F out of her face because she doesn't want her there. But I feel bad for the parents because as you get older, you realize that the only thing that's really holding your family together, like I have my own life in my city, my siblings have their own life in their cities, and we go visit my parents, but I found it like as you grow up and your siblings have their own families of their own, you don't really reach out to them so much, and you don't really have as much of a relationship as you probably should, other than what's keeping the family together. So God forbid, the matriarch of the family is no longer there. You kind of just separate, and I think they're doing their best to keep the family together even though they don't really like each other, and hoping that they can just have a situation where they feel like they haven't failed as parents and they raised a family that'll be strong together even when they're gone. And this is not helping that. So I'm still saying that yes, OP, you are the you are the antagonist because you're saying some pretty atrocious things just because you're mad at somebody, and you're probably putting them in a very bad mental state even though they're overstepping the bounds. Probably didn't deserve that, especially being your sister. Yeah, the sister's the antagonist too, but you guys aren't doing it for each other. You're doing it for the parents, and the parents are probably doing all sorts of work to try to keep the family unit, somewhat like it used to be, or somewhat how it was ideally in their head. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that yeah, everybody sucks here. So, there's the button. Everyone sucks here except for the parents because, hey, do it for them, not for you. It's not because you guys like each other. It's because your parents want to see the family together for holidays and everything. So let's go ahead and read the top comment saying, quoting the fact that he snapped at her and brought up those terrible things. And then this person said, "You're the antagonist. How can you possibly say something like that to your sister whose baby died? That's horrifying and absolutely heartless," which is true. She's crossing the line right there. Next post was, "You're the antagonist. How dare you tell her that she isn't a mother? You don't start being a parent just because your child dies. Heatless," but they probably meant to say heartless. "It's totally fair for you not to take her advice. Even tell her that her advice is unwelcome, as you can do with all that unsolicited advice." So yeah, you can just tell her, "Hey, shut up. I don't care. I'm not raising my kid the way you would raise your kid," but not saying, "Hey, look, let me try to get the worst moment in your life. Let me try to get that and use it against you, and also shake up, rattle the cage a bit. Like, let me try to make you as miserable as possible because I don't like unsolicited advice." That's a terrible thing. So let's go and get the defense section, which is the controversial post saying, "Everyone sucks here. Your sister is sticking her nose where it belongs." What? Your sister is sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, which I'm guessing which they meant to say. "You're the mother of your daughter, so she doesn't get an opinion, but you are also the antagonist for throwing her dead child in her face," which is true, but poorly written. Next reply, "Everyone sucks here. You really shouldn't have said something like that, as it's a horrible thing to say to a person who lost a child, no matter how many years it's been. Parents are parents even when they lose their child. However, she does sound like she's trying to take over and parent your child. She needs some sort of help to deal with her loss instead of trying to take over parenting your child." Which is probably true, but it doesn't mean that you get to just take a low blow on somebody that you already have a rocky relationship with, and your parents are probably trying desperately to get everybody back together. So I'm not changing my opinion on everyone sucks because the sister is, projecting a lot of things at OP, which she probably doesn't want to deal with. And also OP is just being a terrible person by trying to rub the fact that they lost their own child unexpectedly as a way to get her out of her face. That's a terrible thing. And you know, you're not only hurting her because she's giving unsolicited advice, you're hurting your parents. Your parents are trying to help you out, trying to develop some sort of family unit, and you're doing your best to make that not happen. So yeah, I'm not really changing my opinion on that, but you know, as we go along, I really do enjoy doing those Friday episodes with the DecoyNoise Swap podcast. So if you haven't been seeing that because you're not searching for it, it's not Am I the Antagonist? It's just whatever I find trending and interesting on the internet, I cover that. Check that out, but if you do enjoy it, make sure you guys are subscribing down below and also letting me know that you have joined the Decoy Koi Pond in the comments, because we're going to give you a warm welcome. We're a group that a lot of these guys have been here since the original 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing to me because they've stuck with me no matter how many different things I've changed, different thumbnails, different video formats, different ways that I'm approaching the content. Nice guy, mean guy, aggressive guy, talking really fast guy, talking really slow guy, very, very sick person, fake tattoo person, short hair person, beard person, long hair person, curly hair person. It's really gone a long way, and everybody's kind of hung out with me, so we are a pretty good community, and I want you to join that as well. So subscribe if you haven't already, because you enjoy the content. But as always, if you made it this far in the video, enjoy the celebration because we're having a good time over here. Make sure you're liking it, make sure you're subscribing it, make sure you're sharing it with someone that might like the content as well. But as always, if nothing else, put this on autoplay and watch that next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next.